Okay.
Now, so
all right.
It's the Chasing Points podcast, and it is very, very hot, very, very warm here. It's episode 175, and if I mess up today, blame the heat. I don't really care.
So hot.
It's the NBA is over forever, thank God.
Forever.
Well, at least until October. We got a bunch of trades already, even though the draft is tomorrow or today when you hear this. We got a little baseball to talk about and a do you care? So, gentlemen, how are you holding up in this warmth?
I think I need to borrow your tank top.
You cannot.
All right. Where'd you get it?
Only NY.
All right. I'm going to do a little shopping later. I need a tank top. It's hot. It's too hot. Tomorrow's going to be hot.
Send Harry some merch, somebody.
Yeah, send me some merch. Tank tops only.
Just go to Old Navy and get the classic 4th of July apparel, the whole set that's coming out, since you have that coming anyway. You can find probably all the tanks there right now.
Is there a glizzy on the front?
Maybe. A whole family
perfect.
eating glizzies.
Sign me up.
Wow. It's just getting worse. I just want to let you all know that are listening to this. This conversation was way worse before we got on here.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It wasn't good.
The ringleader, as always, is Harrison and Brendan, and Sam and I chime in from time to time. So
just here so I won't get fined.
So Brendan, how are you?
I'm good. It's warm. I'm a little moist. I feel like Ewing at the free throw line, but I'm hanging in.
Jeez.
I'm hanging in.
Sam, how are you?
That's something. I can't follow that up. It's hot.
It's going to need a couple tank tops.
Oh, my gosh. Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder, or as Harrison would like to call them,
the Homa,
is now world champions. I will start off by saying we'll get into like the little stats, and I just kind of want to get the feel of who raise a hands who actually watched Game 7.
Pod format, but
okay,
yeah.
I mean, Sam
those
cuts
on
clips, things go up. You never know.
All right.
So watching Game 7, I feel, in my opinion, that we were robbed of a instant classic. With how it started, what happened by the end of the first quarter, and it kind of turned up. It's still like kind of held what it could have and should have been. But from the beginning, Halliburton came out on fire, making shots, and then went down, which I do want to spend time there collectively as a whole. I just kind of want to get everybody's thoughts on like what they saw on it. After he went down, I thought it was going to completely, I thought one of two things. It was going to completely take the air out of the Pacers, or it was going to give them this burst of energy, like we got to do it for our guy and ride that out. And it kind of felt like it was the latter for a little bit until OKC remembered how to play defense again. And then it just all went away, and they were able to go from there. I know Shea ended with 29 and 12 assists. I remember just looking at one point in time, he was like 6 for, or like 8 for 27 or something like that.
Yeah,
at one point.
A lot of it came from the line. Yep. A lot of it from
correct.
threes,
So I mean, hitting his field goals wasn't necessarily a thing, but he was getting to the line. Chet, Jalen Williams, Caruso, all kind of stepped up in their own way. Lou Dort, so on and so forth. I thought in totality it was a good team win, but I feel the way the momentum, like even when OKC stepping up with their defense until they kind of like started to pull away. The Pacers were really in it, and I want to give them the utmost respect. They were playing with what we believed as people that didn't choose them, they were playing with house money. Because a lot of people, and barely anybody outside of Pacers fans or people that really, really watched them, thought they were going to make it this far. I know they were in the NBA conference finals last year for the East. I didn't necessarily believe they were going to get back there. And to the fact that they were there and they proved that they should be there, it was exciting to watch their playoff run. Now, before I get into the Halliburton stuff or whatnot, Sam, Harrison, since you both watched it, what were your thoughts on Game 7 and the series?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't like the Pacers, Knicks fan here, but you don't want to see anyone get hurt. And I think we've talked about it for a couple weeks now. Like the house money thing is on point, Hayes, because if you told me this series was over in 4 or 5, I would have said it could. I mean, anything. We've been watching sports our whole lives. We've seen it all, right? Like it's all possible, but you hate to see that happen, and just how important Halliburton is to that team. But at the end of the half, they were up by 1. I mean, they were really, giving it everything, and I don't know if that was just the adrenaline of the moment, but in Game 7s, usually the best team wins. I know there's a lot of this is a shadow on the Thunder and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, sure. But you play who's on your schedule and you play who's on the court with you. So, I mean, the thing is, this is every year you think like the team that won the championship, oh, you could see them winning a handful of more titles, right? Whether it was last year's Celtics or whoever was before that, Giannis and the Bucks, right? Like, or the Nuggets, right? If you told me the Nuggets were going to win a handful more titles in the Jokic, Jamal Murray era, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'd put money on that. So, I mean, I think the Thunder are probably the best position to do this because of the way this team was put together and how young they are and how the money and whatnot. So I hate that it's kind of like a cloud over them, but at the same time, what can they do about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at too much of a cloud. I mean, the series in totality was really amazing.
Yeah.
And just me personally, it was really hard for me to wrap my head around. I said it last podcast, like the Indiana Pacers being the champions. Like I feel like the right team won. We definitely were robbed of an epic Game 7. I think having Halliburton in there would have definitely brought it down to the wire. Just the same as the series was. It was brutally hard to predict. Hand Up was completely wrong about the Thunder kind of closing it out quickly. But that's all kudos to the Pacers and how they played, and just their style of play was awesome. And you couldn't count them out. Even when they were down 13 with like 2 minutes to go and Matherin's making plays, you're still like, wait, could they still do this? Like that just shows how much they fought back all playoffs long, all season long, and just I guess you don't leave a series too often saying the story is the loser, but they really were. And kudos to the Thunder too. I mean, they're a great team. I think they're set up for future success. They're so young across the board. You could see it in their Gen Z championship celebration. None of them are even drinking or doing any of that, but that's just kids these days. But yeah, I mean, even the way they celebrate at the end, it's kind of like that's what they expected. Not so much, and more of a relief than actual joy. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough seeing Halliburton go down like that. I mean, right away, and you kind of saw it coming. Anytime there's a calf injury, like shortly after that, there's some type of Achilles. We saw it with KD. We've seen it a bunch of times, and even with Lillard, like he had the blood clots, and it's just like the overall health will lead to a major injury. So that was disappointing, but yeah, I was just really pleased to see kind of Shea step up. Yeah, he shot poorly, but he was aggressive the whole time. He wasn't afraid of the moment. Jalen Williams looked very afraid of the moment in the first half, but he was able to kind of get it together in the second half. But that's like his personality. Like when you see him in interviews and how he speaks, and he's an introspective guy, like very introverted. You could see. I like watching players like that because on the court matches their personality off the court. So to see him like publicly go through like, am I good enough for this battle, or am I good enough to be a winner, and then turn it around in the second half and really turn it up was really cool. And then Chet's kind of just the X factor, and for him to hit some big shots and make some big plays on defense was really cool. And then Caruso as well. You know, you bring him in to be that veteran presence and get you over the hump, and he certainly did that. So I just really loved watching the Thunder all year. I really loved watching the Pacers during the playoffs, and the whole totality of the finals was that, and it was awesome to see it get to a Game 7 and be that competitive.
I will say that the playoffs this year in general had me so locked in. I think it's honestly the most. I normally watch the playoffs, but I tried to watch every single game that I possibly could in the playoffs. And as you guys know, I've talked about on the pod, I didn't really watch too much basketball here. I caught big games when I needed to catch them, so on and so forth. But the playoffs were it really felt like on any given night, one team can win. It didn't matter which team it was. It seemed like your seeding didn't necessarily matter in this situation, at least in the playoffs this year. It felt that way. Obviously, in the first rounds, there were some blowouts and some massive blowouts, and we were looking like, what the hell was going on? But then it just kind of, like it naturally does, it evens out. But even still in those blowouts, the other teams still had a very valid chance to win those games and be competitive. As for the finals, I'll say this before we get into Halliburton, because I would love to hear. I have a question to pose to you guys as former athletes, as fans of sports, what we truly think of Halliburton. But as far as Chet Harrison, you said something about it, and I've been thinking about it for a while. Chet is like, this is really like his first season, like not like really playing through it. This man had some serious injuries, and he has such a potential trajectory to be such a solid player with his height alone, his ability to shoot, his defense, his length. He has so many traits that says elite player, and he's still so young. I believe he has the possibility or the capability to flourish, especially in that system. They're such a young core. All their young key players are locked up for a while. They also have several first-round picks coming up, thanks to Sam Presti and the moves that he's made. So they're set up for the future, no matter what they do. It's going to be interesting to see what the Thunder do moving forward. Now, moving forward, Tyrese Halliburton ruptured his Achilles at the end of the first quarter, and I immediately knew, as a former Achilles rupturer, I guess if that's a thing.
Survivor.
It wasn't great. As soon as I saw the recoil, I knew it immediately. I can't even. I wanted to share this with you guys. As soon as he did it, I like felt it back in my body again and what it felt like, and I was sick to my stomach. My question for you guys, I know it's been a topic, everybody's been talking about it, and as four men here, I know we carry our pride on our shoulders, right? And I'm not saying we're too prideful, but I know we have a certain thing that we feel, especially growing up in sports culture. My question to you, gentlemen, do you believe that the influence of sports culture of saying tough it out, be there for your team, influenced this? Or do you believe that in this position that you guys yourself would push through, or would you sit out in this situation, knowing the potential of in the actual medical history of what can happen for those that have a strain in their hamstring?
I mean, I'm pushing through. I don't begrudge him for trying to do what he did. Like, you know, you have a very few chances to kind of play for a championship and be an NBA champion. So there's no question for me.
Yeah, it's game. I mean, there's Game 7. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
With the regular season, I'm sure he'd be out a couple weeks.
Yeah,
most
regular
calf
season,
strains
you're sitting out with a calf for 4 weeks.
Right.
Easy.
But like, I don't know. It's just making. I understand the question, Hayes. I just don't think I mean, I'm not an athlete. I'm not anywhere close to one. But I think just that mentality is just for most people ingrained in you. And then if you publicly don't have it, you get chastised like Anthony Rendon does. And we make fun of it. We spend the whole episode making fun of him. So I
think the bigger question is like, how do we protect the athletes from even being in this position?
From themselves?
And we've talked about this, a few times, and the season needs to be shorter. Like, it's just, I know the money will not make sense with a shorter season, but it's just too many games. It's too many games. It's too much wear and tear. Like we've said numerous times, the game is wildly different from north to south and east to west. Like, you're just running a tremendous amount more than they did back in the 90s and 80s and whatever. We're seeing a lot more Achilles injuries. I don't want to be the old guy, but like I could never wear low tops. Like, just couldn't be me. Right. Couldn't play in them. And Kobe started that trend. It's not exactly the sneakers.
He also ruptured his Achilles.
I know there has to be some part of it through the movement that they're making and the wear and tear, and all that type of stuff. And even the medication now, like, a lot of these guys are on blood thinners or, kind of aspirin, ibuprofen, whatever that may be. And that's going to put your body at risk as well for more injuries. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I'm not a doctor. But there's a lot of different, reasons and causes that seem to all be adding up to a lot of Achilles injuries. A long time ago, we had a lot of ACL injuries, and we don't see them as much anymore. We still see them. But Achilles seem to be more prevalent right now. And there needs to be someone that steps in and figures out, why this is happening and how to mitigate it.
Brendan, I know you definitely saw the injury, but based on the question, what is your thoughts if you're in that position, thinking from the athlete perspective, but also thinking from, I guess, the cultural perspective of how you're perceived if you choose to sit out and not play?
Yeah, I mean, I get that side of it, right? Like, the stigma, or the the label of being soft, or not being there for your team. But yeah, I mean, like Sam and Harry are saying, Game 7, you're gonna play, right? Your foot could be hanging off, or some severe injury. You're gonna try to tough it out for your team and for yourself too, right? I mean, who knows? You might not get another opportunity to play in a Game 7. So despite injury or potential, further injury or more severe injury, you're going to tough it out. And I can't blame him for that. I did have a question for you guys. With the recent uptick in Achilles, tears, is this the equivalent of like Tommy John in baseball?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great question. I was literally thinking about that the other day, of like how many Achilles injuries we see and how often Tommy John is. And it's like, exactly.
But what's so crazy is like the Achilles thing used to be like, that was the old guy injury, right? Yeah. Like 20, 30 years of miles on your body and like playing basketball. Kobe was near the end of his career when that happened. I mean, Dame's 30 something.
Yeah, but Kobe was also wearing low shoes on top of that too.
Yeah. So, I mean, now you're seeing it. I mean, KD was in his prime when that happened, or coming out of it, maybe. I don't know. When was that? 5 years ago?
2019.
6 years ago? So, yeah, right in his prime. So, I mean, TJ is so prevalent now, and it always seems, Brendan and I were talking about this the other day. It like always seems to happen, like these stud pitchers get called up to the majors, and then like 3 starts later, they have a flexor strain or there's some kind of elbow problem, and then they need Tommy John surgery. I feel like that's kind of like the equivalent to the ACL in football, where it's just, most star running backs are going to get it at some point, unfortunately.
With Tommy John's, that's like wear and tear, correct?
Well, I mean, the human arm, elbow isn't designed to throw 100 miles an hour 100 times every 5 days. So
yeah. And throwing a baseball is an unnatural motion and movement as well. So, but yeah, they're tying it to velocity. They're tying it to now arm angle as well. I saw something recently like Paul Skeens, he dropped his arm angle, and it seems to be a little bit more, beneficial to preventing certain arm injuries. So they're really kind of grasping at straws. But yeah,
I would compare it too. I mean, I think it's, with the way basketball is played now, there are a lot of different movements that players from back in the day did not make, like different types of Euro steps and the prevalence of having a quick first step. And when, a lot of Achilles injuries happen when you push off and you have a straight right leg, that's kind of the trigger for it. And that's kind of how you make a quick first step now. It's kind of like a quick, fast twitch motion that will eventually lead to a lot of wear and tear on your calf and then trigger down to the Achilles. So I do think they're similar. They're obviously different injuries, but the prevalence of them, it's kind of like, you're going to get an Achilles injury now, or you're going to have Tommy John. And it sucks.
So my thought on this is, I agree with what all three of you have said. Once you get to this level and so much sacrifice that you put in, knowing where some of these people have come from, just understanding how hard it is to be the 0.2% of people in this world to be able to get to that tier and even potentially even get to that game is very, very rare. And the athlete in me says, I don't give a damn what happens. I'm playing, right? But I also feel that if what the opposite would happen, and obviously this is me speaking hypothetically, because obviously we don't know now because it's happened and we can't look back. But I feel, in my opinion, if he didn't play Game 7, he already proved to me, if he's my teammate, he already proved to me that he's going to go out there and try. He did try Game 6, did his thing, put up for the team, right? If he was unable to go or even had can only give us 5 minutes, I much rather see you back next season and not now have to potentially lose the whole entire season. I also don't like what would come potentially with that from some people, obviously not all. Essentially, like Brendan said, calling him soft, clowning him. He's already been voted as the most overrated player by his peers. So I can only imagine what type of social media response would have been to that. Which,
to be fair, that was before the playoffs.
That
article came out before.
I wouldn't be surprised if that thought went into his mind. But I don't feel like Tyrese Halliburton is that guy. He's just kind of like, okay, whatever, you guys talk. I'm just going to keep proving you wrong. It sucks because I like I said, I can see it both ways, but I do want to give him the utmost respect for going out there and being so clutch throughout this whole playoffs.
Yep.
Every single step of the way, this man was the best player on his team, stepped up when he needed to, knocked down clutch shots. He was that guy. Yes, he disappeared in several games, but to me, those clutch shots that he took outweighed all of that. And the way that he played through all of this and even finishing it the way that he did and going out there, giving it his all and ended up hurting himself and now going to lose a whole season. Salutes to you. So I appreciate everything you did. It was wonderful to watch, honestly, for sure.
It was wild because he had a bounce in his step too. He looked pretty healthy. He hit 3 threes in a row. He was moving around really well, and then you
Game
just make
6,
that
I was
one move.
What does he even do? He looked fine. He looked okay. Yeah. If you didn't know he was nursing that calf, you would, there were signs, but
100%.
If you were looking at the bench and you were just looking at him with the ball or cutting you couldn't really tell there. Also he played in the. Tatum too. I know Tatum didn't really play in the Olympics. I know that was a joke, but they were playing all year.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
These. I don't know anyone that plays AAU. I know the kids in town and the travel baseball team. They're playing all the time. So I'd imagine I've heard stories you're playing 4 basketball games a day. 3 days in a row. Like, so
yeah, they really didn't stop.
it's a
I mean,
different-
even Curry too, hamstring injury. He
Mhm.
played the Olympics, and Halliburton, and yeah, that's a great point. They really have not stopped playing basketball.
Also, second thing, Pumas aren't comfortable. Pumas are like just super narrow and not
I've never worn
comfortable.
any.
So maybe I'm just saying.
Let's
I'm
blame
just saying.
Puma.
I'm not
Just saying.
blaming Puma because I'm the designer of it, and he makes some very, very comfortable shoes. And Puma basketball sneakers have actually been on
I've
the
never
rise.
worn the basketball
on the
sneakers.
rise for
I'll be-
sure.
I'll be
All right.
fine.
Yeah,
We apologize,
Stop
Puma.
wearing
Sorry, Puma.
lows, please. Just wear mids to highs, and just tie that damn ankle up. Enough of that. So there was a trade that happened, and it was announced before Game 7, which a lot of people thought it had people up in arms and said they were stealing, trying to steal the Thunder, ironically there. But the Rockets traded for Kevin Durant. As the package included Jalen Green, Dylan I Can't Stand Brooks, this year's 10th pick, and 4 second-round picks. Does this immediately make the Rockets a contender?
I think it does. I mean, even, from the first round of this playoff series where I had a lot of difficulty picking them against the Warriors just because they just didn't have that go-to scorer. I think Kevin Durant gives them that immediately. I don't think they lost much in this. They didn't have to give up Jabari Smith. They didn't have to give up Sengun. Now you get to play Reed Shepherd a little bit more, Tari Eason a little bit more. So they had a lot of depth. So adding someone like Durant, who's obviously a proven scorer, one of the greatest scorers of all time, and someone hungry to still compete and try to win championships. Yeah, I think they're going to be right in the mix next year, and going to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, we said it a couple, when they got eliminated a month or so ago, like they could hold you to 85, but I'm not sure they could score 86. And now, they've solved that. I mean, we give I know they're different teams, but the Thunder won this championship with suffocating defense. Like we talk about SGA's numbers and, from the field in Game 7, like they're not a historically like great offensive team, but they're suffocating on defense. And Ime's got these Rockets like playing that way. So now you give them this, their version, their Kevin Durant, SGA, like this, like prime score, like just pure scorer, and like that's hopefully, that's that's going to be fun to watch. It's going to make Rocket games a lot more fun to watch because I know you like the defense a lot, Hayes, and I not saying I don't, but there are a lot of times where it's like, well, is someone going to like take over this game offensively, and you didn't want it to be Jalen Green because he'll shoot you out of one. So this is kind of a different. I love this move, and the market for him was so soft. Pat Riley didn't want to give up anything for him. They knew the Suns needed to do something, and they needed assets. The draft's in a couple days, so this is a home run. I don't know who runs the Rockets now, but like home run. This was a great trade for them.
Yeah, they had a clear need, and they answered it like very easily.
I like it. That's all I really got. No,
the West is so loaded. The West is so loaded, but yeah, they could make it out of it.
I do like seeing Thompson, and KD linked up together. I think that will be
fun.
Very, very interesting to see. I'm intrigued by what the Suns are going to do because they have like 10 shooting guards at this point in time listed that way. So I don't and have no other position players really. So I have no idea what this new ownership for the Suns, what they're doing. Maybe we'll see this pan out. It's kind of like, I don't know what the Knicks are doing with their head coach and thing. Brendan, did you get any news on that? Did they let you know yet what's happening?
Knicks insider.
My sources still have no idea what's going on. Don't know why it's not our boy Mike Malone, but nothing to report on as of now.
Thank you from
our
insiders.
Still have not even heard his name.
I know.
Nope.
It's so crazy.
This is weird.
Doesn't make any sense.
This is
With that said, and the new collective bargaining rules, the big three era seems to be done. So Sam or Harrison listed, or a combination of both, some of the best big threes here. And we're going to choose who we believe is the best big three. So we each get to choose two, and we're going to make it a snake draft, is what we're doing here.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Brendan gets first pick.
Okay.
Make it easy. Make it easy on him.
The Heat. Let's do it.
The Heat. Wow.
Bron, D-Wade,
Okay.
Velociraptor.
Sam. We'll go Sam.
I have to go like MJ, Scotty.
That's the right pick.
That is
MJ,
100%
Scotty.
right.
I don't know, like, is it Rodman? I assume Rodman. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
I'd go
MJ,
Rodman.
Scotty, and
Yeah.
Rodman. Yeah. 7 titles. 6.
Yeah.
6 titles. No. Yeah. 6. Hayes, I'll give you the
Thank
floor.
you for giving me the layup there. Or a half court 3-point shot, because I'm going Golden State Warriors with that.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't lose
No.
here. This is
No.
I love the Spurs. That was like one of my favorite teams. Everyone else hated them. They were like, oh, they're boring. But it was just amazing basketball. The beautiful game. Like, that's literally what they kind of developed. So Timmy, Manu, Tony, Pop, I get a big force kind of from that. So I'll go with them. And then we'll go with fun. I'll go with the Suns with Nash, Marion, and Stoudemire. That'll be my second one.
Ooh.
They kind of ushered in the new age of the way basketball is played today. So
My second pick is not on this list. It would be the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, and Michael Finley would be my three there.
all right. Sam?
I'm writing this down. I gotta look.
You could pick the old timers. You could pick Larry, Kevin, Robert Parrish. Well, I was going through this. There was like a lot more big threes than I
Yeah.
thought. Or what you can kind of consider a big three.
for
but-
sure.
Props for putting Kevin Love on here. That's good.
They won a
Shout
title.
out K-Love.
They won
Yeah.
a title without K-Love and
Are
Kyrie.
we-
But
Are we talking like what they achieved together, or the three individual talents together?
I mean, either
Because
way.
I
I guess
feel
either
like-
way.
either
way.
Yeah.
Because I can also replace
Because
Michael Finley with J. Kidd, because he was starting point guard
Sure.
of that one,
I mean, OKC jumps out, just KD, Harden, and Russ, but together, Harden wasn't nearly the player he ended up becoming, and
I would
Well,
have just
I'm-
loved to see them
I'm
together for longer.
yeah, I'm gonna say the Lakers here. Shaq, Kobe, and
Yeah, that's a good one.
you put Robert Horry here. Can't. I mean, talk about clutch. I won't pick the Celtics, so I'm gonna pick here the Lakers.
Also, to correct myself, Kidd and Nash were not on the same team. Continue, Brendan, yours.
I was going to go Celtics with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen.
Insane to me that they only won one title together.
Agreed.
Insane.
Too many people in their
All
feelings.
right.
Brendan, it's you again.
Jeez, another one?
Well, technically,
Oh,
we
okay.
only
Okay.
had two
That's
each, so
great.
we're done.
Okay.
We're
Only
done.
two. Only
We're
two.
done.
We're done here. So Brendan has
Honorable mention.
Celtics and Heat. That's pretty funny. They, just battled each other year after year. Sam, you had
I got it. I had MJ, the MJ big three
I mean,
there.
you just won the whole
Hayes,
thing by
Golden
that pick. So,
Golden State big three for Hayes here. Spurs for Harrison. Then Harrison came back with sneaky the Suns, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, and Steve Nash.
they won nothing.
Hayes, you had Nash, Finley, and who was the third guy? Why am I?
Nowitzki.
Dirk. Oh yeah,
Dirk,
it's
yeah.
one of the
It's
best
technically
forwards of all time.
it's not Nash. It's technically Finley, Kidd, and Dirk. Nash wasn't on the
Dirk,
championship team. Yeah.
Nice. I like
Honorable
it. And
mention.
then I came back with the Lakers. The Lakers of Shaq, Kobe, and Robert Horry, and then Brendan had the Celtics big three, the 09, 08, 09 champion, whatever year that was. So.
Honorable mention for me to the Pistons: Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, the one team Jordan couldn't beat. So
I okay. Get rid of the Mavericks for me.
All right.
I'm going Magic, Kareem, and Worthy.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
I'm going that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's before our time.
I'm going with that for sure.
I mean, how many big threes were Bill Russell a part of? Like a little different, but
Bill Russell, the all-time champion in NBA history. The guy that had like 20 bazillion rings. That guy.
That guy,
legend. Like this legend, the big dumper out here raking. Brendan,
boy,
talk about it.
Saw him in person. It's got a big dumper.
Wow.
You need that bobblehead, Hayes.
I might.
We got to get you that bobblehead.
Brendan, can you tell the people who the big dumper is, please?
Yeah, Cal Riley, catcher for the Seattle Mariners. He's got a big caboose. There you go. Hayes is pointing to his Mariners hat. Yeah, it's impressive what he's doing. I did see a tweet, not to kind of rain on this parade, but comparing Riley's Cal stats to Judge's, and he's only leading in home runs and RBIs. I think it's stolen bases too, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
That he's got 9 steals. But anyway, hell of a season so far for a catcher, no less. But you gotta wonder what the second half's going to look like as he starts to kind of wear down a little bit. But yeah, it's impressive what he's doing.
32 home runs right now. He's on pace to break Barry Bonds' record of the most home runs before All-Star break. I think Barry Bonds has 39. So if he gets 40, he will have the record for the most home runs before All-Star break, which is a big shout out to him for what he's doing out there. I think it's for baseball fans that are baseball fans and paying attention, what's kind of going on. This is another problem with baseball, as we talked about in this podcast plenty of times, and the exposure that it doesn't get is that this should be talked about. This is something that could potentially be historic, and it's kind of just getting overlooked in this situation. So, but shout out to him doing his thing for sure.
I heard in the last 365 days he has like 55 home runs or something like that, which is just insane from the catcher position. I don't think there's ever been. Sal Perez had like 40 something home runs. There's never been a 50 home run catcher. I mean, just to put in context what he's doing, and he's also the average historically has never been there for him. I mean, that's kind of par for the course in baseball now. But he's also an excellent defender.
Yeah.
So that's that's so valuable in a park that's so hard to hit. We talk about this Mariners pitching staff all the time, and I'm riding that bandwagon, but I'm driving the bandwagon. But it's hard to hit there. It's hard to see there, and I know he's got that advantage because that's his home ballpark. But that's really put into context what he's doing at the catcher position is kind of crazy.
Dump him out the park.
There's bobbleheads, the big dumper bobbleheads on eBay, like 50, 60, $70, Hayes. I'm just saying.
Too much money.
Cash those chips.
Too much money. I like them. I don't like them that much. I'll just continue to just rock with them in the show. Round 1 of the 2025 NBA draft is tonight when you're listening. This is on ABC/ESPN. Do you care? The answer is yes, and yes. I think I saw a tweet about Ace Bailey, right, Harrison? Is Ace Bailey? We're correctly right?
Ace Bailey not doing workouts.
My understanding is somebody tweeted and basically said that whoever the GM that is that passes up on him will either already be cemented as like a good GM and their seat is secure, or they're going to immediately get fired if they pass him on him and they have the opportunity to not get him. I think he absolutely is going to be one of these stars, and I believe Cooper is still going to do what he's doing, but Ace is going to be one of those guys that we look back at and be like, remember this draft and remember where he came from. So I do care. I do want to see where these guys go to these teams. I mean, we already know who number one and where number one's going. Shout out to Adam Silver for rigging this.
I care.
I think the draft starts at 3. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I forgot it was this week. You kind of get wrapped up in the finals, and then basketball just keeps going on. I think this is an absolutely loaded draft class, especially at the top. I really love Cooper Flagg. I think he's going to change. Well, the Mavericks don't need like a changed dynasty or organization, but he's going to be great for them. I really love Dylan Harper. VJ Edgecombe, even, if you don't take Ace Bailey at 3, I like Edgecombe at 3. Jeremiah Fears, he's a really fun guard from Oklahoma. There's just a lot of names that are going to come off the board and make solid impacts at the NBA level. So excited for this year's draft, much more so than last year's. Maybe I'll watch it. My thing in drafts, I don't watch them too much. I'm there for the spectacle. So if they decide to host the NBA draft outside in some parking lot, I'm all in. But if it's just in like East Rutherford,
not at Barclays or whatever.
Barclays now, yeah.
Is it? It's been in Barclays. Is it still there?
I think that's right. They axed East Rutherford.
Yeah. Izod Center.
Yeah, poor Izod Center. R.I.P.
Is it still there? The Izod Center.
It's like the Great Wall now or something. Isn't it like the water park? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you're
American
right.
Dream.
I think the draft starts at
American Dream
3 here. Yeah. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, 1, 2 there.
Yeah.
I think those. We look at this draft and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think it'd be interesting to see what the 76ers do at 3 because, I mean, if they're all healthy, they're a great team, very good team. So. Be interesting to see what happens there, and do they take someone like Ace Bailey or Edgecombe, or they trade the pick? What do they do there? So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Kind of when the draft starts for me, because we already know what
I bet Bacon
is going to do.
I bet Bacon's a big Con Knipple guy.
I was going to say the same thing. You just scream Con Knipple all day, Bacon.
He might go top 5. Big Con Knipple fan.
Can you spell that?
He's going to be watching YouTube. Someone send him YouTube highlights.
Kon nipple. No.
Okay.
No words for that, Hayes?
UEPPEL.
Oh, he's a dookie? Okay.
He's a dookie.
All right.
He's a shooter, big guard.
Exciting white. All right.
Exciting white. And he might go top 5. I would not be shocked if Con Knipple finds himself in the top 5 spot.
Top five.
There's only 2 exciting whites.
No.
And they play for the Birds. Stop calling everybody exciting whites. That's number 1.
We got a couple on this podcast.
They're all exciting
do
whites.
Not. That's that. I'm just excited to see Brendan's highlights for the draft. When is the MLB All-Star break, by the way?
July. I actually know this because I'll be in Toronto. It's July 14th is the Home Run Derby, and the 15th is the All-Star Game.
Is it in Toronto?
Bummed. No, but I was bummed because there's no games at the Rogers Center. So
I got a question, and it's solely for Brendan. So Sam and Harrison, I don't need you to say anything. Brendan.
That's usually what that means.
What is... See, you already said something. You already just went against it. Thank you. That's why I said what I said. What is your thoughts on the Yankees currently right now? Maybe in very, very specifically Anthony Volpe and Mr. Wells. Do you think there needs to be changes, or maybe they need to be demoted, or something like that? Just curious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back to the Hudson Valley, to our beloved Renegades here.
Damn, just send them all the way back.
Yeah, all the way back to High A.
High A.
They don't
Can't
deserve
even let them go to Scranton for a couple weeks.
Nope.
Just all
Triple
the way back
A
to
is too
Fishkill,
good for them. Somerset, too advanced. Right back to High A. Say hi to Rookie there, or whatever the hell the mascot's name is.
Ricky and Renee.
The Rascal and
Rascal,
Rosie.
that's what it is. My apologies.
There's
Ricky
a couple.
and
They have
Renee.
like 5 mascots now.
Okay.
Rascal married a skunk named Rosie.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, Frankie the
is a
Fox
huge
was there
Rosie
for the
fan.
marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh,
Big day
Big day.
here in the Hudson Valley last year. Big wedding.
Well,
wow.
according to
Wow.
Brendan, they can
Volpe
hang
can
out
be
with
a part
them.
of it.
So, yeah.
Volpe,
I just think Volpe shouldn't be hitting 6th. That's it.
He shouldn't be in the lineup.
I saw there was like Kay and Paul, and they were going back and forth, and they were like, "Do you think his approach would be, or it would be better if he wasn't just kind of swinging for home runs all the time, and if he was just kind of like played to being like a slap hitter, contact hitter? Is there any like validity to that, or the way like they're asking him to approach his at bats? Or he's 24 years old. I mean, and he's defensively still really good. No,
Go ahead, Brendan. Get it off your chest. Go ahead.
just if he sucks, he sucks. Just tell me he sucks, and I'll just.
He doesn't suck, but you're playing a premier position for the New York Yankees, right? We grew up Derek Jeter. You got, even though it's not fair to compare him to Jeter, he's going to get compared to Jeter, or he's going to catch that ire of the fans, when he's slumping like this. Every Yankee does, right? I mean, Jeter went through slumps. He got booed. Judge got booed, so like it's just kind of it comes with the territory. But it is just unbearable to watch him come up in these big situations and either just go down, swinging 3 straight pitches, or pound a ball into the ground, roll over. I can't tell you how many times I've seen him roll over on a pitch, a little slow dribbler to the left side. It is just, I can't watch it anymore. And they got to figure something out. He was a Gold Glover, right? His rookie season, I believe it was. His defense is still okay, but it's kind of come back down to maybe a little above average. He's just been bad. And, everyone goes through slumps throughout the season, but just to give you an idea, the past 2 weeks, he's 9 for 50, batting $180. It's not looking good.
He's never really hit the ball hard. He's just been the Yankees' best prospect at one point, and I think the COVID year was involved in that as well. So there's always some type of inflation when it comes to Yankee top prospect. But he's an above average. He's got an above average arm. He's a great defender. He's not. I think he's a really good base runner. I don't think he's aggressive enough, but you also need to get on base to steal bases. So like that's part of it. Yeah. I think Brett Gardner was really fast. I don't know what his sprint speed was, but like he was never a good base runner. I think Anthony Volpe is a good base runner. He's just
barely
not
on the base.
Yeah. So look, I think was it last week, 2 weeks ago, we were going through his numbers. Like he's going to be at the best version of Anthony Volpe is going to be a 260 hitter. He's going to hit 20 home runs. Maybe he'll steal 30 bases and he'll win a Gold Glove. Like we just, as Yankee fans, you just have to that's going to be the 90% outcome of Anthony Volpe.
Okay, so if that's going to be the outcome, do you stay with him or do you shop for another shortstop?
Right now, in 2025, he's the shortstop. I mean, if you want to go get a shortstop and have him play second or do something like that, I mean, I just don't think he should be hitting 6th. I thought he'd be a great leadoff hitter, but that didn't work. So I just don't think he needs to be hitting anywhere.
So where do you think he should be? The bottom of the lineup?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That seemed to work for Brett Gardner too. You always roll the lineup over with a fast guy at 9, and then you roll it over. I know that's like the old school baseball way. Like, Kyle Schwarber's a leadoff hitter, and you're like, what? But worth a shot. I think we saw last week Aaron Boone's just going to try anything at this point, just to try to shake things up. I was at the ballpark on Saturday. Balls were flying out of there, almost a no hitter. It was great. And then the next day, Volpe gets a day off. I know we were joking offline about that, but I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah, I understand the frustration, Hayes. I just think we just need to kind of lower expectations. Brendan, did you say it to us?
I'm not frustrated in this one. That's Brendan. Brendan is me when it was Gleyber Torres. I'm not frustrated.
Yeah,
I've already is whatever with him and Wells, but Brendan,
I'm beyond frustrated.
There you go.
I'm at wit's end here, Sam. I can't take it any longer. But
he sent him back to high.
But just to be realistic here, they really have no other option at short, right? I mean, who's going to play short if they do send him down, or if they do sit him or move him to second, right? I mean, who's playing short?
Is playing 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times a week. He's hitting a $170,
which is gross.
That's not going to work.
No.
So yeah, I mean, we can rehatch this. Didn't sign Manny Machado. You didn't sign Corey Seager. You didn't sign Trey Turner. Was it Volpe's fault? No. But could Volpe end up playing second base, and you could get a stud shortstop at some point? Sure. If that's what it means, then it's fine. I think we just need to look for that production somewhere else, and just kind of. I think I didn't hear the conversation about like him changing his swing for home runs, but yeah, again, I just think the best outcome of Anthony Volpe is he's going to hit 260, he's going to steal some bases, and he's going to be a really good defender at a really hard position. So if that's what it is, then maybe we need to find production elsewhere,
Okay.
Yeah. I do, going back to another struggling young player for the Yanks. I mean, Dominguez, he's not getting reps every day. He's not playing every day. I don't know what they're doing with him. Like a guy that young needs to get consistent reps. And if you're going to bench him every other game, you might as well send him back to AAA and get some consistent playing time, and then bring him up when he can actually play at least 5 days a week. I just think that they're kind of stunting his development right now by benching him every other game.
I'm in full agreement. As I've said offline, for me, it's still F Aaron Boone.
I think a lot of that comes. You didn't think that Trent Grisham was going to be this good.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Aaron Boone to me is not the coach. I know they went to the World Series last year. I believe in the players. And I understand the players have slumps and whatnot. I still just don't trust the moves that he makes in certain times. To me, it's just been proven that in certain situations, there's going to be a bonehead move, and it happens every season. I feel that one of the major moves that was a bonehead move was in the World Series with Nestor, which I would have never, ever done. And I think sometimes it's just very costly. It was definitely in that situation. Now, obviously, some people are going to listen and be like, well, you guys were just in the World Series. Yes, I get it. I was saying that before they were in the World Series. I'm saying it during, and I will say it after. That's where my frustration really lies, Sam. I understand the players are going to be what they're going to be, and not everybody is going to be hot all the time. Some people are just going to be average, some just above average and are serviceable, and that's fine until you get that. I'm not expecting, us to have all-star caliber players in every position, but yeah, Aaron Boone can kick all the rocks, in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to go back really quick too in terms of Sam. Like he had commented, he thought he'd be a good leadoff hitter. Obviously, this new era and day and age, we don't really have the prototypical leadoff hitters consistently, across the teams. At least you mentioned Schwarber. I do think that's something that the Yanks are lacking. I mean, batting Goldie leadoff, he's not. I mean, he's done well, but he's not a leadoff hitter, right? So it's someone to set the table in front of Judge, in front of Belly, guys that are actually hitting. I think that's a major need right now for the Yanks.
Well, what do you want from a leadoff hitter? You want him to get on base. You want him to get the second base somehow, and you want him to score when the heart of your lineup comes up.
Yep.
So, I mean, Schwarber may be just the enigma because the guy can lead the league in taking a walk, but he can also lead the league in strikeouts, and it's just so perplexing to me that that's what you want at the top of your lineup, but he could also hit you 35 home runs in a small ballpark in front of some great hitters. So, yeah, I mean, high on base guy, for a while I thought the Austin Wells thing would be interesting to watch. That came back down to earth. Ben Rice is, has had his moments there too, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where we go there.
I think it's outside the organization. I think you got to acquire someone via trade. They were mentioning IKF again. I don't want to go through that again. That's not the answer. Kind of Falefa, that is. But Ben Rice, I don't understand. I think there's better days ahead for him. Mm-hmm. His you pop the hood, his underlying metrics are insane. Like upper 90th percentile, hard hit rates, bat speed, barrels, all that good stuff that Sam and I like to nerd out about.
You should see our text messages. They're super nerdy.
No, you shouldn't.
Not just about baseball. Yeah. But it's just a lot of red on his Savant page here. So I do think better days are ahead for Ben Rice. Expecting batting average is 297. He's currently batting 241. So I think he's running into some bad luck right now. But he's someone that they do need to get into the lineup more. And I know they're they're trying their best and doing a pretty good job of that lately. One started catcher. He's spelling Goldie at first, DH, all that. But yeah, I think there's better days ahead for Ben Rice. I do like him in front of
Wells,
of Judge.
Oh, in front of Judge, yeah. Give our young guys some time. Yeah. I just feel like sometimes Aaron Boone just kind of doesn't really trust the young guys and just kind of just goes to the vets and gives them that. How I feel about DJ. I've talked about it on here. I honestly feel that something could be done to get Ben Rice out there, because also with Wells, isn't he was considered to be a better catcher than Austin Wells, Rice, at one point?
Austin Wells has made tremendous strides in the catching department. Yeah. So when Wells was drafted, I mean, Schwarber came up as a catcher to bring him. I mean, the comp in the draft when the Yankees took him was, his best outcome could be Kyle Schwarber. But defensively, he's improved a lot. He's really good at framing, which I don't know is going to even matter in a couple of years once the automated balls and strikes start coming in. But I've been impressed with him defensively, to be honest.
Yeah. But it's also hard too. I can kind of sympathize with Boone. You're trying to compete. You're trying to get back to the playoffs, get back to the World Series, but you're also trying. You have kind of a semi-youth movement here as well, right? So there's growing pains that come along with playing young guys in baseball and every sport. So it's tough. He's kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? Like expectations are high, but he's also got to play some of these young guys, try to get them these reps and get them in these games. So it's a balancing act for sure. But I stand by it. If you're a young player, you do need consistent playing time. This on and off again thing, it just rarely works. So
That's what I have to say about him.
Shout
Shout
out Gleyber Torres,
Hmm.
second or leading the AL second base All-Star votes.
Good for him.
You want
Fuck
to
off.
raise your hand where you were wrong thing, Harrison. It was me and Gleyber Torres playing in Detroit because dude looks revitalized out there.
He's
Play
back.
day. It's the facial hair. There you go.
He's back. All he needed was a beard.
Mm-hmm.
He's,
And the eyebrow cuts. Yeah.
he still kick rocks.
Got him a year
He
too
didn't do
late.
that here. Whatever. Sam, take us out of here, please, because it's too hot to be looking at y'all faces anymore.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Gleyber and Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey, Harrison, Brendan, and Hayes,
Dylan Harper.
and Big Dumper.
Cal Riley.
I'm
Sophie.
Sam. Thanks so much for listening. 175 in the books, Chasing Points podcast. What's up?
Go Birds.
I thought you said something. Go Birds.
No.
There we
Go
go.
Birds.
Yeah.
Hayes
Aaron
put a shirt
Rodgers
on.
said one more year. Probably. Is that what he said? Most likely. You want to talk about that?
That's what he
We
said.
just end the podcast?
No. Yep. Let's end it.
Yeah.
Bye.
You don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, Hayes?
Bye.